Grow with CEO.
You are watching City FM 96. You are listening City FM 96. I am Marjani Ram, and this show called Grow with CEO brought to you by Rana Raisha Track. This is a very special show. This is a very talked show. We talk so many things. We hear, we learn how to be big, how to make you perfect example for the society, for your next generation. And today, I'm very humble and very glad to announce we got General Manager, Intercontinental Dhaka, Kevin Wallace. Kevin, thank you so much for coming.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You serve a very big company, actually, world leading company, Intercontinental. So that's my first question. How you entered this big company, big name?
Well, Intercontinental's been a name that's been around for a long time in the hotel business, and it's always been in the luxury segment. It's been at the top of the hotel game for in excess of, the company goes back a couple of hundred years, and the brand goes back 60 plus years.
Right.
And interestingly enough, Dhaka was one of the first destinations where an Intercontinental was actually built and opened. And it came in the old days when people used to travel around the world in the Pan American Clipper planes, which would fly 3 or 4 hours, stop, people would get out. You would not sleep on the plane in those days. You would sleep in a proper hotel room. That was the concept.
Right.
And then the next morning you'd get up and you'd fly to the next destination. I'm not sure whether it was Tehran or Istanbul or where they went from Dhaka in those days, but our hotel is one of the very first that was ever built. And it's been in that location now, as I said, for 60 years. It's been through a major renovation 2 years ago. So without a doubt, it continues to be a world-class hotel. The same experience that you have in an Intercontinental hotel in London, Paris, Maldives, Hong Kong, wherever it might be, you will achieve and experience here.
We all got the same feeling. But my question is how you joined on Intercontinental?
Well,
story?
That's a long and winding road story.
Please.
I've been in this business about, almost 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah,
on hotel business?
I started in Australia actually in the resorts business with Mirage Resorts, and was there for a number of years, and then moved on to another group of hotel companies based in Thailand called Centara Hotels, which was and still is the leading hotel group in that country. Again, a more resorts focused. We had business and convention center hotels. I worked for one of the largest Chinese hotel companies in the world. It probably was at that point the largest, called Platano Hotel Group. And I've worked probably in about 40 different countries. It's not until very late in my career actually that I worked for Intercontinental. I've worked alongside them in a number of other markets. But I liked the challenge. I knew a lot of the senior people at Intercontinental. I liked the challenge here of delivering a luxury product in this market. Not many people understand Bangladesh. Not many people understand Dhaka market very well. But it's actually a very sophisticated market. We do here a lot of things that we can't do in other markets, particularly in terms of guest experience, because we have the culture, we have the service standard, we have the traditions here of 60 years. So for me, it's a very interesting place to be.
How many days you were here on Dhaka?
I've been here now, I think this is my 95th day. I've arrived at the very end of last year, taking over from my predecessor, and we've had a great run here. The market's been very kind to us. We've, I think, done a lot of innovative things in terms of guest experience. In the hotel business, it's not just how the hotel looks, but it's what kind of an experience you have in the hotel as a result of the menus, the staffing, could be the lighting. We call it a lot of times in our business, show business.
Show business, yeah, it is.
A lot of people would say that hotel business is show business because people have aspirations.
Right.
Whether they have money, whether they're middle income, whether they're wealthy, they like to come and feel that one, they have value for money, and two, they're special. And what happens to them, the hotel is unique and personal to them.
It is, isn't it? What kind of change you did when you started Dhaka?
Well, I opened up, I expanded the menus, I turned our I elevated the concept in the elements all-day dining, which is the #1 rated restaurant in Dhaka. I elevated that, changed a number of things. I changed the fine dining restaurant. I expanded it from a pure steak and seafood restaurant to a classic Italian steakhouse and seafood, along the lines of some of the classic Italian steakhouse and seafood restaurants in America, one in particular, Delmonico's. I'm a great fan of, and I think we took a lot of what they do and we made it work here locally. In addition, I took the whole pool area and turned it into an outside barbecue, where today people can go out in the evening, it's still remaining reasonably cool in the evenings, and dine al fresco.
Right.
This was a barbecue concept that's now caught on, and I think it's some of our competitors have tried to emulate the same sort of thing. Of course, not quite as good as what we do, but it's nice to see that.
Yeah, they're trying to compare actually. And how do you actually now running your business? Because again, scenario is different. Again, COVID attract actually. So
yeah, there's definitely been a challenge, not only for us but around the world. People aren't traveling for leisure. People aren't traveling for business as much as they would. Our occupancies are much below what they should be. So we've effectively turned our hotel into a restaurant venue, an entertainment venue, by offering interesting experiences. We've started with the menus. We started with opening up different areas of hotels. I mentioned the Aqueduct, and now we've gone to food festivals. We just had our Indian food festival for the past week, which really was sparked by the recent visit of a number of heads of state here, so we wanted to do something special. That's been highly successful. Our chef just went back this morning, actually. He's a specialist in North Indian foods. It was very popular. And now we're going on in Ramadan. We're bringing in a Lebanese chef who's an expert in cooking for iftar, for surur, and he'll be providing menus privately for groups and in our buffet restaurants, covering Turkish, Moroccan, and Lebanese food. So he's a very experienced chef. He was last at the Ritz-Carlton in Doha, so he's delivering.
So he knows the Muslim culture and the
he knows the Muslim culture. Yeah.
So
definitely.
On this Ramadan, you were providing something exclusive for our Muslim, right?
From the 14th or 15th of April onwards, we'll be providing something very exclusive, very different, something Dhaka has never seen before.
Wow. So
get ready.
So how you're experiencing Bangladesh and our culture and our food, street, whatever you've seen?
I mean, in the past I've been involved in a lot of the South Indian markets. I've built and operated hotels in India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bhutan. So I know this part of the world pretty well. I'd been here on business before, but I'd never worked here before.
Oh.
So it's one of those countries that I didn't know as much about as others, but it's very challenging to deliver a luxury product here. I wouldn't say that easy, but it's also quite rewarding, because what I find here in this market is that the local population really enjoys their food. It's a big foodie town, actually, Dhaka. They love going out to eat. They love new things. They love to bring their families, and so it's in that sense been a very rewarding experience so far.
Wow, that's so good. Actually, this show means something to our audience. That is leadership, and that is to make you successful. You are a successful person. You make your company successful and business oriented. So, what is your actually leadership skill or key point that makes you difference, or that place gives it?
Yeah, I think I think it boils down to experience, in the sense that over the years, there's almost nothing I haven't seen in this business, nothing I haven't been challenged by. And I've been inspired by a lot of great hoteliers, both on the room side and on the food and beverage side. So I've taken those and I've really adapted those experiences to this market. Every market is a bit different, so one always has to change a little bit the style, but one has to be decisive. One has to pick up on the themes, one has to pick up on the trends. People get bored very easily today, in the digital age. There's so much information flying at people that it's old news in 5 seconds sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with new ideas all the time, and new experiences, and that's really, You know, a lot of the hotel groups I've worked with, we actually had people who were effectively script writers who scripted what would happen in the restaurant, what would happen in the hotel, almost moment by moment. So that's a very important thing. People just want to see that stimulation, whether it's the palette or the music or whatever it is.
Wow. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for giving us time. That's valuable, and we learn a lot. And thank you so much from City FM 96.
My pleasure. Glad to share it with the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On this note, I would like to thank you everyone who is watching and hearing our program. This is Grow with CEO, brought to you by Rana Raisha Track. Kevin was actually with us, Intercontinental Dhaka. He is General Manager. What we hear, what we learn, share and share your love.